Hello YouTube. Alright, today we're going to be upgrading my main computer, hopefully for the last time for a while, with two critical components. One we're going to start with is the power supply. This is the power supply that's been in this machine. It is a Seasonic 520 watt power supply. There's your spec label there. Has a ball bearing fan in it, which is nice. 80 plus bronze, so it's efficient. And there you have it. You get 20 amps on 2 rails, which is pretty good. This power supply has been a trooper, and it's pretty well built in there, so I've been very happy with it. But I need more than 520 watts, mainly because of all the hard drives I have in that computer. There are about 5 hard drives in there, and you really need more power than 520 watts to start all the drives at once without pushing this power supply too hard. And I've pushed this one pretty hard, so as far as that goes. So what I've decided to do is upgrade, hopefully for the last time ever, with the power supply. And I've decided to upgrade to this, a 750 watt PC Power and Cooling Mark III silencer, which is also 80 plus gold. Has a 7-year warranty, which is insane. So this thing should last me 7 years, which should be pretty awesome. This is one really nice power supply. You get options for fan mode. You can do silent or regular. I'd probably put it on normal mode just for the sake of airflow. Here's the spec label of this power supply. You get 24 amps on the 3.3, 24 amps on the plus 5 rail. You get 62 amps on the single 12 volt rail it has. And you get 3 amps for 5 volt standby rail. So most of the power is dedicated to the 12 volt rail, which is what I need for the hard drives. So there you have it. Has continuous power output. Built-in 100% Japanese low ESR 105 degrees C rated capacitors for high reliability. Single 12 volt rail for efficient power distribution. Compliant with ATX 12 volt version 2.31. I don't know how new that is. I assume it's fairly new. Dual thermal control system, normal and silent operation mode. PSU. Has a 140mm ball bearing fan. Industrial grade protection circuitries. So this is a serious power supply. Engineered for low noise. So on the back of the power supply you get a switch for normal mode and silent mode. So silent mode basically leaves the fan off until a certain temperature, and then when the temperature gets to a certain point, it turns the fan on, which not only gets rid of dust being in the power supply, but it increases efficiency, and it makes the lifespan of the fan longer. So assuming that the the temperature sensors are great, that should be an awesome addition. And I think it'll be great because these power supplies heads and shoulders above the rest. So there you have it. Just so people are clear, PC Power and Cooling is part of OCZ, and OCZ makes pretty good power supplies, so this is pretty awesome here. So let's check this out. I think you'll be impressed just by how awesome of a power supply this is. Instruction manual. Thank you, blah blah blah. Looks like a bag of cables or something. And zip ties and a power cord. Dude, thumb screws for the power supply. Excellent. And the power supply itself is under this foam and in this bag, so let's check out the power supply itself. Let me take it out of the bag here. Now this is what I'd call a power supply. It's nice and heavy. It's got a big fan down there, which looks to be pretty high quality. You look inside here and see if I see anything worth noting. Looks like pretty standard fare in there. It's good stuff. These power supplies have really good circuitry in them. They use Nippon Chemicon capacitors, which are Japanese and very high quality. And it's semi-modular with plugs that are actually different than the norms, which I'll show you. Here's the spec label on the power supply itself. It's the same thing as what's on the box, so there you go. There's the model number. And there you have it. It's semi-modular, so it has modular plugs here, but it also has the 20 plus 4 pin connector down there, and it has, it looks like, I think that's CPU. It has some EPS 12 volts down here. 2 of them. I guess you could use one for a graphic. No, this one's for the CPU. So these are meant for, you can actually use these power supplies in dual CPU systems. That's why it comes with 2 of these. That's cool. That's really cool. Let's check out what's in this bag here. In this bag is all the cabling. So here's some SATA power connectors. Now you notice, this does not look like your standard plug for most modular power supplies. Usually it's kind of the shape of an EPS 12 volt connector, but this is like a DIN connector. Now check out the connectors they use. Here's an example of one. No plastic crap anywhere. This is a very heavy duty metal connector with very rigid pins, and it screws in. So you take a plug right here, you plug it in, and these are actually keyed. They have a little thing right there. These are keyed, so you plug it in, plug in your connector, then you screw it in for a very tight connection that will stay there. You can pick this up by the cable and it will be fine. No plastic clips, none of that. This is very high quality stuff. That's part of the reason I went for this design. I didn't decide to go for some cheapy thing. I got the real deal. If I was going to get modular and a high-end power supply, I went for the real deal, and I believe this is the real deal, because this is some really nice stuff here. So, there you have it. That is the new power supply with these heavy-duty modular connections, 750 watts of continuous power, really good circuitry, and, of course, the Nippon Chemicon capacitors. So, overall, this is one of the best power supplies I will ever own so far. So, that's pretty cool. I'm going to go stick this in my machine and wire it up. Alright, I have the power supply to end all power supplies in my machine now. Now hopefully I won't have to upgrade this power supply for another 7 years, since I have that huge warranty on this. Now I only ended up using about 4 of the sockets back there. Now, let me tell you, those are some of the best quality modular connectors I've ever used. These are amazing. I highly recommend this power supply simply for these connectors here. I used 2 of them for SATA, 1 of them for the connector for my graphics card down there, and 1 of them for Molexes, so I could connect my fans and the optical drive up. So there you have it. There's really not much to this upgrade. It's just a power supply, but it's a very, very nice power supply. So why not, right? Yeah. One thing I really like are these thumb screws on the back. These are really, really nice. That way you can sort of line everything up, screw it in with your thumb, and then tighten them with a screwdriver like I am now. It just makes life so much easier to have thumb screws on just about everything on the outside of a computer case. So, that's pretty awesome. On the back of the power supply here we have the on-off switch, the IEC plug, and the fan that switches it from silent into continuous mode. So you can have the fan turn off and turn on at will, or you can leave it on all the time. I'm not sure which mode is best, to be honest with you, but I'm glad there's the option there. I'm going to try silent mode and see what that. I'm gonna try silent mode just to see what it does, but I would prefer to have it on continuous just for the sake of airflow. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'll figure that out. But the option is there, and that's cool. Now, because I know some people are going to ask what the specs of this machine are, I have a Gigabyte 970 chipset board, AMD chipset, an AMD FX 6300 CPU in there, and an XFX AMD Radeon 7850 with 1 gig of RAM, and 5 hard drives. 2 terabyte Toshiba, 1 terabyte Hitachi, 1 terabyte Samsung, 1 terabyte Western Digital, and another 1 terabyte Hitachi. I have way too much data, and I want to downsize and just get bigger drives in general. I don't want to have a bunch of 1 terabytes in here. I'd rather have like a couple of 2 or 3 terabyte drives in here and let that be that. So, of course, that'll happen in the future. But for now, I'll stick with this and save my money and all that happy stuff. So, there you have it, folks. There's another upgrade coming after this, but that won't happen until tomorrow. So we'll just test the power supply out to see if it works, and that'll be that. And try out the silent mode and all that fun stuff. Since I have to mess with the BIOS, I just went in here to check the voltages, and the voltages are in spec. 3.3, 5.1, 12.1, that's all on spec right there. So, that's good. Yay. Well, that was incredibly irritating. The bootloader decided to torch itself for no reason at all, just because it's Windows. So I had to get out my Windows boot disk, uninstall or unplug all the extra hard drives, boot from the disk, repair the startup stuff, made sure it booted. Plug all the drives back in, close it, button it all up, and now it works. That was really random. Thanks, Windows. Thanks a lot. Other than Windows being really annoying, power supply seems to be working great. I have it on silent mode, and it's quite silent. Here it is on non-silent mode. Seems to work pretty well that either way. Coolio. Anyhow, there you have it. That's the upgrade of the power supply. Now tomorrow I should get the other part I'm upgrading, and we'll cut to that. For those of you who were wondering where the old Seasonic power supply went, that went into my bedside computer, replacing the Ultra LSP 550 that was in here. Alright, so next day, and the other upgrade for my computer came in the form of an optical drive. I decided to get myself an LG Blu-Ray burner for the purposes of Blu-ray movies that I own that I'd like to back up and watch, and also for backing up data, because this supports BDXL discs. You can get 100 gig discs for about $40. So for $40 I can back up a ton of data onto a disc, which will be really useful for backing up video work, which is basically what I wanted it for data archival and things like that. So that's why I decided to get this. Plus, damn, it's a sharp looking drive, man. Got this for $60 with a discount code, so I didn't have to pay like $100 for one of these. It's your typical SATA Blu-ray burner, like any other optical drive. It also supports this M-Disc technology, which is also used for archival. So I might give that a try and see how that works and what it does and all that fun stuff. So this LG drive will be replacing this Sony OptiArc drive that's in here now, and I'll move that Sony OptiArc drive to another machine or something. So, stick the Blu-ray drive in. Alright, got the Blu-ray drive installed, and I must say, it looks pretty sharp. I like how the brush look sort of matches with the case a little bit more. That looks really nice. The only thing that doesn't quite look right is the glossy bezel, but you know what, that's not that big a deal. So, let's turn this on so we can test this thing out. Fancy. I have a movie disc here that we can test see if I can even play movies. I think I need software to do it, but I'm going to try it anyway. And just to see if it can even read the disc, so to make sure the drive works. I have a copy here of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is one of the most beautiful looking films in the world, especially in HD, because the miniatures look so real. The cinematography is beautiful in this movie. It's not the most fast-paced, entertaining movie in the world, but if you like cinematography and space, then this movie's pretty awesome. It's an interesting movie, I'll say that much. Definitely worth getting the Blu-ray of just for the cinematography alone. So we're going to try that in this machine once this computer's all booted up. Alright, now that the computer's all booted up, I can show you that it reads as a BD-RE drive. Yay, Blu-ray. So now the test is to put a disc in, so let's try it out. Alright. Let's see what the computer does with this particular movie. It's reading it. Does Media Player Classic play it? It doesn't appear to. Let's try VLC. Yep, so I think you have to buy software to play Blu-ray movies on your computer. But the good news is I don't have to do that just to burn data discs, which is what I really plan to do with this the most. So that I can just archive large amounts of data with a very little amount of discs, because you just can't archive with DVDs. It doesn't work. It's much better to do it with Blu-rays, tape backup, or hard drives. And I like the idea of Blu-ray because it doesn't take up a whole lot of space, and you can keep it for 10 years and it's fine. You don't have to worry about, head crashes or anything like that. It's just a disc. So, sweet. It does read the disc though, which is good. I still just love how sharp that Blu-ray drive looks. So, there you have it. That are 2 upgrades to my main machine. Hopefully I won't have to touch this computer much, other than maybe some hard drive swaps here or there, graphics cards or things like that. But even that I don't plan to do very often. So hopefully I won't have to touch this machine again for a good long while, especially when it comes to the optical drive and the power supply. Anyway, there you have it. One high quality power supply. Very high quality. One that I recommend wholeheartedly. And an LG Blu-ray drive. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.